The information in this podcast is for general informational and educational purposes only. Nothing we say should be taken as individualized advice. If anything you hear brings up concerns for you, we strongly encourage you to speak with your GP, psychologist, or another qualified health professional.
We would like to acknowledge and pay our respects to the traditional owners of the unceded lands of the Kulin Nation, on which this podcast is recorded. We acknowledge their rich history and honour the ongoing connection to land, waters, culture and community. Welcome to This Might Help, a podcast bridging the gap between psychology research and your everyday life. We're your hosts. I'm Dr. Kira Hart.
And I'm Dr. Lauren Rossetti. And today we are talking about a recently viral Vogue article, a bit different, about is having a boyfriend embarrassing?
What a question.
What a question. We're going to unpack it and I think dive a little bit more into the psychology of this article.
Exactly. So we'll be going into the research between singleness and relationships and posting a partner online.
Yeah, some of the themes that this article touches on.
Exactly.
Before we get stuck into that, shall we do our wellbeing wins and wobbles for the week?
Let's do it. What's been your wellbeing win?
My wellbeing win is a very simple life pleasure this week, which is the chocolate on top of a cappuccino.
Yum.
And you know when like you get a spoon, like especially if you've got a cappuccino in a cafe, you've gone somewhere and you get the spoon and like you can eat the foam off the top with the chocolate.
Yes.
That's just my simple little life pleasures wellbeing win for this week. My wellbeing wobble is that I am going on a trip overseas soon for work and I booked my accommodation so last minute. I mean, it's before I've gotten on the plane, so it's not as late as it possibly could be. But when I told people, oh yeah, I'm going in like this many weeks, I haven't booked anything, I got that look of like, oh... You might want to do that soon. And then, yes, when I looked at all of the places and things available, my options were quite limited and were probably way more expensive than they needed to be. But I've booked it now.
You've got somewhere.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will be sleeping in a bed in a hotel and not like roaming the riverside or something.
Here I am imagining you in like a 12-bed hostel right before your conference the next day. But a hotel, that's a bit premium.
Yeah. No hostels for me, I don't think, at this point. How about you, Kira?
My wellbeing win, you were actually there for it. It was Halloween over the weekend, so I had a Halloween party with lots of my friends, which was very fun and spooky. We also had some trick-or-treaters come by Friday night, and there were far more kids than there were chocolates, but all the children shared and it was very cooperative, so that was fantastic. And then my wellbeing wobble was actually a bit of a tough one this week. Someone close to me has been having a really difficult time. So just seeing them struggling has been quite tough. So that was my wellbeing wobble of the week.
That's never fun.
No,
but you're a very good listener and a very good supporter. So I'm sure they are lucky to have you.
Thanks.
I'm just thinking about the Halloween party, and then I also have like another wellbeing wobble of that in that my original costume, as you know, didn't arrive. So I ordered a very time-sensitive costume piece, which was to go as one of the Louvre heist people, relevant only for like this month, you know. It did not arrive. Saturday came and went, party done and dusted. Sunday afternoon, I get this package, which is like a high-vis vest and a set of children's party jewelry that I was going to wear. So now I've got that. I'll have to find something else to use it for.
Anyone knows what else that outfit might be appropriate for, please slide into our DMs and let us know.
Yep. Save me from the wasted party jewelry and high-vis vest.
Yeah.
So today we are talking about this article. It was titled, Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now? It's by Chante Joseph and was in Vogue UK recently. Been heaps of discourse. about this article online, and we're, I guess, going to focus more on the kind of psychology behind the theories and the different elements that the article touches on.
100%. If there's a bandwagon, I love to jump on it. So
Yeah.
let's
get around
to
it.
the multitude of think pieces and opinion pieces on this topic. But yes, as you said, we'll be unpacking like the psychology research behind it.
Yes. And this article is around, like the title suggests, whether having a boyfriend is now embarrassing, and in the context of like heterosexual relationships.
Yeah, so let's give a bit of context to what the article is about in case you haven't read it. The essence of the article begins by explaining how previously having a boyfriend used to be a status symbol. So for years, women online would post about their boyfriend or post their partners gaining social status and praise for being in this romantic relationship, which was held up on a pedestal and idolized.
Yeah. There is also a shift then from everyone kind of hard launching their relationships online. So, it was normally like almost like a big announcement on your Instagram that, you've got a boyfriend or in a relationship. And then now there is a shift to this kind of like soft launch culture where, there might be a photo of the back of someone or a hand, or it's just a picture of like, dinner, but you're clearly having it with someone,
Like, who is
it's
it?
like, yeah, it's mysterious. And from I guess the lens of not wanting to appear boyfriend obsessed as well.
Yes. The article goes on to talk about how people do this for a multitude of different reasons. For some people, there's caution and weary around not wanting to post a boyfriend and promote it in case that relationship suddenly ends.
Yeah. And then there's the superstition around, will other people feel jealous, or will there be different things that happen if they post all of this content, and that could lead to the end of the relationship.
Increasingly online, there's discourse about having a boyfriend being lame or uncool. So there's this cultural cringe around having a boyfriend increasing at the moment as well. And within the article, there was a paragraph or two about a content creator who posted about getting into a relationship and suddenly she lost hundreds of followers.
Yeah, which comes, I think, from that fact that people, relate to, or they feel really close to those people, like, an influencer that they've followed for a long time.
Yeah.
They're enjoying all their content, and then suddenly there's like a shift in their life. And so their followers maybe feel like, oh, now like we're not on the same wavelength, or now this content isn't for me. And then, maybe mass exit from the followers.
And then the final paragraph concludes by speaking about a new narrative whereby being partnered is no longer viewed as an achievement as it once was, but rather being
We've got it. We need to preface that
it's going to happen.
in the lead up to recording this and our discussion, Kira tried to say single lots of times, and
I'm saying signal.
Yeah, it was just not happening for you today. You maybe burnt.
Yes.
Your body doesn't want to say it.
I'm glad we've said it now. So now when I say signal, you all know I mean single.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of the single ladies in my head to help me pronounce it properly. But yes, this last paragraph basically champions singledom.
Singleness.
Singleness.
And maybe singledom is a word though.
Singledom.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but singleness.
And empowering, like independence and empowerment and being authentic and being yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That was fine. We got stuck there on a few of the single words, but absolutely. Yes, it's a shift to, I think, being single as a, as a benefit.
Positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as a positive. And that there is a shift in the narrative and also the view of relationships, which I think they write about really well in terms of we've got this lack of hard launching, we've got this cultural perception that there's kind of a cringe around boyfriends.
Yes.
And also, wanting to be single and independent, and the the positives that brings.
Exactly.
So, yeah, let's unpack a bit about it.
So today we'll be chatting about the psychology research and the theory relating to those key themes from the article, those being firstly, the changing attitudes towards relationships and singleness. Did it? And secondly, social media presentations of romantic relationships and posting partners online. Let's first begin with the changing attitudes about relationships and about being single.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah. So in prepping for this episode, I put into Google Scholar, is having a boyfriend uncool? And there was nothing. There was no research articles on the topic.
I laugh because I absolutely did not think that anything would come up when you ask Google Scholar, is having a boyfriend uncool? But that seemed to surprise you.
Like usually when we prep for an episode and we put like the key question, the key theme of the topic into Google Scholar or any like data library, it spits out a few academic articles. Hopefully they're high quality. But there was like nothing.
Google Scholar is not on the side.
It is
boyfriends
not
being
up
uncool.
to date.
It's not with the times.
No.
Yeah.
But thankfully, for the sake of this episode, there were a few articles about being single.
Yes.
And
changing attitudes about being single and singleness.
yes.
Yes.
So let's unpack these now.
Yeah. A shift away from it not being the, you're single and alone forever. And that means that you're living with 100 cats in your house and, doom and gloom.
Yes.
I think the culture and the narrative has shifted away from that and towards, independence and all of these exciting things, and also the benefits for women, particularly if they're in heterosexual relationships, about their well-being and other things that come with being single.
You explained that so well, Lauren. Well done. So, on one hand, there's a body of research, albeit a small body of research, really focused on those negative aspects of being single. Whereas, interestingly, recently there's been papers come out about the more positive or the benefits of being single, such as those ideas mentioned in Chante's article. So let's unpack and chat through some of those research articles now.
Yeah.
Firstly, there was a paper from a cohort study in Germany, and this found that young people today aged 14 to 40, so adolescents and young adults, they are more satisfied with being single compared to any previous generation. And this really speaks to those societal changes where it's more normalized to be single and there's not as much pressure to get into a relationship, that contributing to that higher life satisfaction. This year, there was also an article published by Hone and McDonald. I loved the title of their article. It was Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves, if anyone would like to look it up.
That is an iconic article title. When do we ever see journal articles with fun titles? Now I'm thinking like, how can I make my own article titles fun like that? How good.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sisters doing it for themselves.
Yes. This study was quite large with about 6,000 participants, and they found that single women reported higher levels of satisfaction with relationship status, life satisfaction, sexual satisfaction, and lower desire for a partner compared to single men, suggesting women are on average happier in singlehood than men. Does that surprise you?
I don't think it surprises me that much. There is some other research that looks at the kind of health and well-being differences for men and women when they're in heterosexual marriages. So for women who are married to men, the benefit that happens to their health and well-being, so like how much being married is kind of a positive influence on their health outcomes and their well-being, it's lower than for men who are married to women. So if a man is married to a woman, it's more likely to benefit their health and well-being. And there's like mixed research. So in some of the areas it's shown to still benefit women, but it's to a lesser extent than men. And that kind of comes back to things like for women in those relationships, and if they're mothers as well, that having kind of the cognitive load or the the mental load of kind of planning and the domestic labor and the other things can kind of lead to stress and can be negative for well-being. And so that, I think, aligns with some of that recent work around this kind of positive life satisfaction when being single for women.
Building on that, there was also a recent paper out of the US, and this looked at heterosexual single adults. I'm still struggling on the pronouncing single. For anyone still listening, thank you so much for putting up with me so far. This paper found that almost 40% of single adults reported that having a long-term committed romantic relationship is, and I quote, not at all important to their lives. However, what was really interesting was the importance of having a romantic partner really varied by gender and varied by prior relationship experience. So women with no prior romantic relationship, so women who have never had an ex-boyfriend, were far more likely to report a romantic partner was important compared to women who have been in a committed long-term relationship or who have been married before. So essentially, women who have been burnt and I'm just like, nah, not for me. This is not that important. There's bigger and better things in life. In contrast as well, men who have been in a committed relationship were more likely to report that having a romantic partner is at least somewhat important compared to men with no romantic relationship experience. So there was an inverse relationship between men and women. Women who had previously dated left those relationships and thought, nah, boyfriends, not that important. Whereas on the flip side, men who had dated, they left those relationships and thought, yeah, a girlfriend, pretty important.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I love that, statistical scientific analysis of that article. It is interesting. It is interesting. I think this shift is similar to what is mirrored in this article and in this discussion. What else was there?
Similar to what you were saying earlier about men having those increased well-being and health and life satisfaction benefits compared to women when we look at being partnered. A study from New Zealand found that men have higher well-being compared to women due to that strong connection with another person and perceived social support. And I suppose there's many factors for this, and every relationship is so different. But if we think about like girlhood and female friendships and female just like dynamics, there's so much strong social connection within women that don't come necessarily from a romantic partner. Whereas for men, perhaps their strongest social support is their romantic partner.
Yeah.
So you can start to understand where those well-being and support benefits come from.
Yeah. And women probably grow up more encouraged to like develop some of those friendships and circles, maybe more so than men in terms of even, I guess, like the types of things that we engage in with our female friends too. So, like catch-ups where you are talking and getting that social connection or getting that like even deep well-being support. It's probably more common for women to really be sitting down and having those chats and getting that connection that a man might get from a female partner, whereas maybe even within our culture it's been less likely for men to also be encouraged to talk within their male friendships about their feelings and their emotions and the things that are tricky and hard. And so for them, if they're heterosexual and then they're in a relationship with a woman, maybe that then opens up more of those opportunities for that discussion. Whereas I think inherently that's something that we're like encouraged as women to do with our female friends.
Exactly. So there's this new research coming out suggesting the positive benefits of being single, which aligns with what the article in Vogue was saying.
And it's nice to see a bit of a shift where we're not focused all on relationships and the
Yes.
experience of being in relationships, or if you're single, here are all these negative, things that are happening.
Yes.
It's nice to see the research shift to be like, if you're single, these are all these life satisfaction benefits and things as well.
Exactly. It's so good. Now let's shift onto the social media side of the article.
Do you share photos of your boyfriend on social media? That's the question.
That's $1 million question. Let's discuss it. So the academic research on this is again super mixed.
Yeah.
Also, I must say there's very, very, very few high quality studies in this area.
Yeah.
And I suppose that makes sense. Like every relationship is so different. It would be really hard to research and capture intimate couples dynamics and how they feel about posting photos of each other.
Yes.
So it's understandable that the research is quite poor quality. Having said that, some studies speak to how higher social media activity and greater visibility of relationships online, so posting heaps of your boyfriend, that is linked with lower relationship satisfaction and reduced intimacy, especially emotional and social intimacy. So that was one paper from 2020. Mm-hmm. There's also been a paper highlighting that publicly posting about a partner does not necessarily improve the relationship stability. So just because you post something of your partner online, that doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah. It makes you think of times where, I don't know if you've ever had these conversations with like within your friend groups or otherwise, but sometimes there's couples where you don't see anything for a really long time and people might think they've broken up or something's happened, but that's not the case. They're just not posting, versus the opposite where you might know a couple and they post lots and lots and lots about each other, or there's like very, lots of intense expressions of love for each other, and then they break up. Or it's like not reflective of what even you might know that they've been having trouble or things have been tricky, but it's a different picture on social media.
They're posting every weekend out together.
Yeah.
I also came across a study that highlighted how those public displays of commitment, and they used the example, I thought this was pretty funny, like changing your relationship status on Facebook.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the year of the article being from like 2013.
Yes.
Was it, or 2015?
Yes.
And probably a peak time when, you updated your Facebook status to be like in a relationship. Or what was the other ones? Like
the MSN.
It's complicated. No. It's complicated.
Yes.
What was there on Facebook? Yeah, in a relationship, single, you can update it to be engaged. But then there's also one that was like, it's complicated.
Yes.
Which people used to do for just a fun time.
That's all, like people only would do it as a joke when we were like teenagers.
Yeah. So.
Yes. But this paper suggested that this can increase perceived commitment and relationship longevity among young adults. Interesting.
It's just so individual, I think, with posting photos of your relationship online, and that's going to be so different for every couple.
Exactly. I don't think the research quite does it justice.
Yes. And there'll be situations where couples post, nothing at all of each other, but they have a super strong and, wonderful connection and relationship. Yep. There'll be other situations where people are really active and, maybe fit more of that, what the article is talking about.
Yeah.
But they might be really active in posting all of their things about their relationship, and other people, may have opinions on that.
Yeah.
But that might reflect their relationship. And there'll be other times where they're posting like that and it doesn't really reflect the relationship quality. But it's just so individual from couple to couple.
Yes. And I know lots of people might have that fear as well about like posting a photo of their partner in case that relationship doesn't sustain long term, and kind of that awkwardness where you get out of a relationship and you're like, okay, well, my last 6 photos was of my ex-partner. Like, what do I do when I meet someone new? And like navigating that, like, it is really tricky, and there is no like hard or fast rules. Like everyone's different, and it is such like a individualistic topic.
Yeah. And if you're like dating, often social media profiles are kind of like the platform through which all of the people see you, you know, they're going on there to like check you out and know more about you. And then it's hard if you've had, you know, the previous partner and then you're like getting back into the dating sphere, and what do you do with the photos on your Insta?
It's a big question.
Yeah.
Someone needs to do a thesis on it. And then we can do a podcast episode on that thesis.
Yeah, let us know if you do that. We'll talk about it.
Exactly. Another really, I was going to say interesting, but it's not it's a tricky topic.
Yeah.
When someone's in a relationship and they suspect or they think that like their partner is deliberately not posting them on social media, or maybe they really want their partner to post a couple photo. Maybe they're posting couple photos on their social media page, but their partner isn't.
Yeah.
And that can be quite like a upsetting feeling for many people. So let's chat about how one might navigate that.
Yeah. It's really just about the conversation, right? And like the communication involved in that, and sitting down and asking, you know, or understanding the reason why, you know, if you're in the situation where you post your partner on social media lots, or you've started to do that, or you post like, you know, and there's milestones and different things, and your partner doesn't do that, and that is something that upsets you or bothers you, is probably just asking the partner like where they're at. Like, you know, what is the reason behind why they may not want to post those things?
So having like a really open conversation about it. And there is like many reasons. Some people might prefer to keep their intimate relationship quite like personal and private, and it may not be something that they post, or they may not post frequently, or it might be a case where it's a bit of a walking red flag, and the partner's maybe being a little bit more deliberate and a bit sneaky about not wanting to publicly share and promote that they're in a relationship. In which case, a very different conversation is going to be needed to have. To be had.
And it's even reflecting on your own thoughts and feelings around why it's important that your partner posts. Like if you're in that situation where for you it's really important to you or meaningful for you that they're sharing that, like those milestones, or they're sharing photos or content, it's probably reflecting on, you know, why is that important to you? Is it that you want other people to see that, or is there a thing about like the social pressure of needing to post it? Maybe less so now with this article. We're going to see more of our boyfriends. We're going to see our boyfriends saying, "Excuse me, why have you posted nothing of me?" Sorry, because it's apparently now embarrassing to have a boyfriend, and it's cringe. So sorry, you're not making it to my Insta feed. Sorry, side rebel. But if it's, you know, you in that situation where you're feeling like you want your partner to do it, I think that kind of self-reflection on why. Is it the social pressure where then I feel, oh, well, if they're not doing that, there's something, you know, that's wrong or not okay with that? Or is it that you genuinely, you know, like want them to share those parts of your life together and you know, show that, and that's a way of them showing, you know, their affection for you, or sharing it with their family and friends, and then you can communicate that to your partner, like, this is the reason why it's important to me for it to be posted. And you know, the same might happen if your partner comes to you and says, I've been posting all of these things and you're avoiding it because it's embarrassing, and then you'll have to reflect.
Just send them the Vogue article. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening.
Kira, is it embarrassing to have a boyfriend?
Is it embarrassing? I'm going to say yes, because I'm single. So
Yeah.
it is
Slay.
so lame.
Your well-being and life and satisfaction
Yeah.
is like on the up and up.
So high.
Yeah, we love that for you. There will be some resources in the show notes. There will be references because we did talk about articles. I was thinking about last week's episode where we spoke about our careers and there was a very empty show notes, but we have references.
We do.
We have a Vogue article to link, although you've probably already read it.
As always, this video will be available on YouTube if you want to watch. We are on Instagram and TikTok, and we're having a lot of fun on social media at the moment.
Yeah.
So come check us out.
We're at This Might Help podcast on all of those platforms. And there are also, as usual, any additional helplines and sources for you to reach out to a healthcare professional if you need. They will be in the show notes as usual.
Thanks so much for listening, and catch you next week.
Bye.